Hello, welcome to Cooking Time. I'm David Martone, Executive Chef at Classic Thyme, and you're watching Cooking Time. Today we have a great menu prepared. Got a lot of stuff pre-prepped. We're going to do a menu of sushi. We're going to just touch on a couple of different rolls, and we're going to make the classic salad dressing. Some people call it the orange dressing, the ginger dressing, or the classic sushi restaurant dressing, but we're going to make it here today fresh. We've got our sushi rice prepared. It's like one of those try and say this 5 times fast. And we're going to make the miso soup. Sometimes you go to a Japanese restaurant and you get the clear soup. Today we're having the miso soup. And why don't I get right down to that? There's a couple of different ways to make this. We have a pot of water boiling here and 2 different types of soup base. The soup base is actually made with a dried shaved bonita flesh. Bonita is a fish that here in New Jersey, oftentimes you'll catch bonita when it's bluefish season. They look like little mini tunas, and they look almost like a football when you pick them up. And it's a really nice fish to eat, and you're pretty lucky if you get them in bluefish season, because I think they taste a whole lot better than bluefish. But they take the flesh and they kind of smoke it and they dry it, and then they shave that flesh into like a flake. And that flake they put into a little steeping bag, like a tea bag. And you can either steep these bags to make the actual broth for the miso soup. So you see the miso soup is not a vegetarian soup at all. Or you can use another form of this, which is like a reduced down broth that's freeze-dried. And it comes in a little like, almost like a freeze-dried coffee, and it's just ready to go, and you dump it in the water. It's a little bit easier than this. This they call dashimoto, and this one is handashi. You can get either one of these in any good Asian store, and with them gaining in popularity, we have several of them now in our local area. So I'm going to add the handashi to the boiling water. I'm actually going to use a whisk. Sometimes this foams up a little bit when you start to add it. So just be careful if you have a huge pot. I didn't have my pot boiling excessively, so not worried about too much foam up. Now, a couple other things we have to put in this soup. Some miso paste. Miso paste is a reduced down fermented soybean paste, and it comes in dark and light. We're using the dark version today. You can see how thick it is. It's kind of like peanut butter. That's why I have it in this special measuring cup that I can just slide it right off and in. And we have to let that melt down in there. And that's really what forms that, that cloudy mixture in the soup, that if you let this sit for a while, it'll actually settle down, and you'll see different layers in this. So now we've got our broth and the miso flavoring. We have a couple other things that we add into this. We have to put our tofu. We're using firm tofu, and I've already sliced this into 1/4-inch slices. And then what I do is to cut it the opposite direction, 1/4 inch, and then simply cut it across. And we have our nice little dice. It's a very, very simple but healthy soup. They say in Japan, miso is a brain food. And oftentimes, rather than to have tea, they'll drink cups of miso broth. Not so much the handashi bonita mixture, as much as hot water with the miso paste in it. And it's like a very good sustaining drink to have midday when you're a little bit hungry, but you really don't want to eat to spoil your lunch. So we want to just slice these mushrooms just nice and thin, because we like thin slices in that miso soup. And we just kind of float these in, and they really don't take any time at all to cook. Let's cut one more up. And by cutting them in half and laying them on the side, you can balance them nicely and you don't risk them sliding. Yes, I'm cutting and not looking, but I have my fingers as a guide to where my fingers, the tips, never extend past the blade. And I'll let you count them after we're done to make sure we started and finished with the same amount. And as my fingers creep back, The blade goes up and down. The blade never goes beyond the height of my fingers, so I don't worry about the knife coming above and nipping my finger. It's something that if you work on your knife skills, it's fairly easy to master. This part of the cooking is all technical work, and being a good technician is part of it. Being a good chef is having a little bit of a creative edge. We're going to chop some fresh scallions. We're doing so many dishes today that I can't keep track of my ingredients. Nice and thin with your scallions. You can use the green as well as the white. And again, finishing this soup is just adding these ingredients. There's one piece that didn't get chopped up too good. Okay. We're going to add our mushrooms, tofu, our scallions. And I'm just going to put this on a very low flame. And cover this until we're ready to have it. And our miso soup pretty much is done at this point. Now we're going to get our salad dressing going. We have onions. We have celery, carrot, fresh ginger, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of tomato paste, a little bit of water, lemon juice, soy sauce, rice vinegar, like the mad scientist, and salad oil. You don't want to use anything that's too heavy. You've got enough flavors here. You don't need to pollute things with additional flavors. Just gets the mouth confused. Keep your area clean as you go. Let's whip this up. Always wait till it stops before you open it up because it tends to splash up a little bit. Tasting spoon. Oh, just like Mama used to make. Okay, now let's start working on some sushi. We have sushi grade tuna. This is not the type of thing that you want to just buy any old tuna. It's a cut that's very, very lean. Let me just show you this. It's very flaky, wonderful tuna. I want to slice a couple pieces up, and then what we're going to do is to chop some up to make our spicy tuna mixture. We'll cut some other pieces of tuna up for our straight tuna roll. You can buy this at any Asian market. However, if you visit your local fishmonger, you can request that they get in some sushi grade tuna. People refer to it also as number 1 grade. The type of tuna usually that we get is an ahi tuna. What I want to do is to take these slices, a couple at a time,